In this video, we discuss the new Endurance update, aka the Muscly Arms update, as I lovingly love to call it. We discuss all the details, the patch notes, and initial impressions right here in the LZ.
Oh, peaceful planet!
Yeah, until you came along.
Travelers, one and all, you have cheated on the Kobayashi test and warped in to my home that is the LZ. So great to have you. Today brings us the new Endurance update that is shockingly not update 4.0. As a matter of fact, it's 3.93 or 9.5 or 9.4. I've lost count of the decibels at this point, but a pretty exciting and pretty beefy update. Patch notes are scrolling on the screen as we speak. So right away, I want to discover what, to me, are the main aspects of this update. First off, this is what we would probably call the freighter overhaul update. A lot of action when it comes to freighters. So, pretty much a gigantic freighter overhaul that includes expanded base building, new base parts. One of the better features, which is not having to take the stairs to the bridge of your freighter anymore. You can simply just warp there, and of course, warp to your other frigates as well. Frigate management is a little easier. The ability to add more living frigates. Pretty much my impression so far, and of course I'm not, if you know me, you know that I'm not a huge base builder, but I do primarily love to have my bases on the freighter instead of planets, because planets, I tend to get a little too creative, and the procedural generation doesn't exactly love me when it comes to building on planets, because the ground respawns and things like that. That's still kind of a bug. Freighter variety was expanded as well. You could definitely tell there was a little bit of a facelift. It's just kind of the overall aesthetic to freighters. This enhancement also comes with crew sort of just wandering around your freighter. It's kind of neat, actually. They kind of just pace around looking at things and looking like they have conversations with each other, which is interesting. And what's actually kind of cool is that these are frigate captains, a lot of them, and squadron pilots that will visit your capital ship between deep space incursions. You know, this is when you send them out to do whatever missions and stuff and bring a whole bunch of loot back. Another thing that I was really sorely overdue was the overhaul of the visuals of black holes. Black holes have kind of been lame when it comes to just how they look. It's just sort of a dark circle with a ring around it that just kind of is there. And for all intents and purposes, black holes are still just kind of there. They don't really have a good purpose, in my opinion. They never really have. They're kind of weird when it talks about their potential. So the functionality of black holes didn't get anything as far as attention goes, but they certainly look so much better. Actually, speaking of so much better, another gigantic aspect of this update centers around asteroids. And the cheeky bastard, over the last couple of updates this year, previous to this one, Sean Murray has already been teasing a sort of new feature that we never got in the addition of just thicker asteroid fields. And when I say thick, I mean THICC thick. They're gigantic. It's so much better aesthetically, and they are better functionally too. I imagine this might get more attention in the future, but even just the look of it is so jaw-dropping. Definitely approved. I think there's a little bit of a bug with asteroids right now. They kind of, at times, can just kind of pop in and out of existence. Like an entire asteroid field can just sort of disappear and then reappear out of nowhere. So they'll probably end up crushing that bug out here in a little bit. Back to freighters for a moment. We talked about base building. The ability to build on the exterior of freighters is kind of cool. It's a little bit limited as of now. I think they probably might add more to this, but it really is nice to be able to expand outside of your freighter, kind of like what your frigates can do. You can't land on the outside, which is a little bit annoying, but overall a decent addition. Base building, of course, outside of frigates and on planet sides got a little bit of a boost too. I'm thinking the glitch builders are probably eating pretty good with this update with some of those enhancements. Now there is a new expedition coming with this update. Usually the expeditions do not launch on day and date of the update, and this is very purposeful because it gives Hello Games some time to fix some bugs with the games with every every single update this game has ever gotten, it has launched with a array of bugs that takes them time to fix it. By the way, they have got exceedingly efficient at fixing these bugs pretty much before the weekend so they can enjoy some time at the pub before they get back to the grind. We mentioned asteroid fields, we mentioned black holes, but they did give space a little more artistic attention. In my playtime so far, I did encounter things like sort of a thick nebula that you can fly through, sort of space storms and things. They don't really do anything other than they're just really cool presence. Really impressive to see. One thing that I did kind of think to myself when I was flying through these is that they're only really visible as you start to get kind of up close to them. At least that's been my impression so far. So I wish that you could see these a little bit further off. Another thing that I don't think is really getting a lot of attention in these patch notes is the fact that they overhauled sort of pop-in when it comes to assets on planets. So things like groups of trees and rocks and things like that can be seen from way higher up. Beforehand, when you're sort of entering atmosphere, the planet is kind of building in front of you as you get closer and closer. But a lot of the smaller assets like trees and flora, they tend to not pop in until you get a little uncomfortably close, right? It's kind of immersion breaking. That was also addressed with this update. Another unsung thing that got addressed in this update is that they made atmospheric changes to a really old update, I think from late 2020, the Desolation update, where you can sort of raid derelict freighters and hunt them, hunt through them for loot. They did make some graphical enhancements to make them spookier than ever. If you haven't tried raiding freighters yet, highly, highly, highly recommend it. It's like a combination of Dead Space and Metroid Prime. It's very, very interesting. Low-key, the best update this game ever got. I know we keep moving back and forth, but something that I also want to mention is they did add some new parts and new functionality to freighters when it comes to sort of the bays that you can add. Things like stellar extractors, new engines, and things like that is really neat. I can't wait to explore those. They added some more multiplayer missions to the Nexus for this, which I think is pretty neat, particularly taking care of giant worms. That was one of the more recent expeditions that we got, I think, late last year, early this year, but it kind of disappeared once the expedition was done. This is now back as a multiplayer mission. Also, raiding Sentinel pillars is also a thing now. That's kind of cool. Overall, pretty impressive. There is one thing that they did mention. I said at the beginning of the video, but I'm going to reiterate that they mentioned that this is on the anniversary of No Man's Sky. This would make 6 years that this game has been out. It had a rocky beginning, but now I've seen the discourse change for this game to, Sean, man, you don't have to keep doing this type of thing. I love that they keep putting stuff out for this. Your mileage may vary on how much you like the various updates. We'll probably have a review put out for this here in the coming days. My impression so far is it's pretty impressive. A lot of quality of life stuff. Nothing too deep functionally. So that's kind of a bummer. Those who are looking for expansions to the gameplay loop and things like that might not find this update the best addition. But don't forget, we also have a future update coming that might actually be the 4.0 version. We have in October the Switch edition coming. I'm really hoping that update comes with cross-save and cross-progression. It is way past time that they implement that. But I want to get your thoughts, my friends of the LZ. What is your thoughts on our Endurance update? And look forward to more information, including a review of this update and more here in the LZ.